Well, again, I give thanks and honor to my pastor, Dr. Patricia, and above all, I thank you all for coming out here tonight. Test. Again, I've been slated to explain the purpose of why we're here today. We've asked the mothers, the fathers, the sisters and brothers to convene at this location to extend a message. That message is, enough is enough. Meaning that it's time out that we treat the brothers who've gone through the penal society, who've paid their debts to society, who've come home with the mindset of changing their lives, being a help to the community where there was once a hindrance, only to meet the requisites that set before them and to be shot down. Time and time again, I hear the lamentation of my brothers and my sisters who again have the spirit in their hearts for change, only to witness it being dashed by societal's obstacles. These obstacles being, you're an ex-felon. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. One of our past presidents, I believe his name was Ford, he had a wife who unfortunately had become an alcoholic. And in doing this, you know, she said she wanted to clean her life up. And she went to rehab. Changed her life with what's called a 12-step program. And in honor of her, they've opened up institutions called the Betty Ford Foundation. Right. Not only did they allow her to go forth and talk about her alcoholism to potential alcoholics, and people who are already alcoholics and want to change their lives, but again, they named an institution behind this particular system as an example of how one can change. Correct me if I'm wrong. When they put the word X in front of you, does that not mean that you're no longer what you formerly was? Yes. I mean, again, if I had gone to prison as a felon, it was because I was doing felonies. But once I was emancipated from the IDOC, the Illinois Department of Confusion, I had the title ex-felon attached to my name. And for that particular reason, I was proud. Because, again, for a great part of my life, I had esteemed myself as being felonious. A person who woke up in the morning thinking about doing a felony. A person who went through his day thinking about doing a felony. And at the end of his day, slept, saying, ooh, I'm thinking I made it through another day of doing those felonies. But again, having been tried and sentenced by the judge, having served the time, the hardships of being away from my family and my friends, it was there that I heard of brothers, you know, stepping forth and changing their lives, which gave me hope that I too could change mine. Title, ex-felon. So you tell me, who would be more conducive to help our young brothers and our sisters who are there struggling with the madness of this society, who are falling to the perils of poverty, who have certain experiences in their lives that prompts them to move to the corner, to sell their bags, hold their jab? Who would best serve to tell them not to do it, other than one who's already done it? Again, the premise for this meeting today is to send a message to the legislators, the powers that be, and above all, to you, how together we can stand, but divided we should continuously fall. Demographically, ex-felons is the biggest group in this state. I don't believe it's a person in here who ever had a cousin, a brother, a sister, a parent, or somebody who unfortunately had a felony experience. So again, in the mindset of having true liberty, in the mindset of having true justice, it's time that we put that word X where it needs to be, as excellence. Excellence. We allow these brothers, these sisters, again, to become assets to their community. Thank you.
For us to wake up, cast off our shame, cast off our fear, cast off our pride, and cast off everything else, because our nation is at risk. My part was just to talk about the crisis. I'm going to move back to my seat, but I wanted to tell you all today I got a call from a high-ranking minister who asked me. He said, you know, I want you to know when you ran for mayor, a lot of us wanted to get behind you. We wanted to support you because we knew your message was right. Your message was on point. But he said, but you had those ex-offenders around you. You had those gang bangers around you. You had those hecklers around you. And I told him I live among them. It's my uncles, it's my sisters, it's my son, it's my daughters. These people are the people I eat with every single day. And when I ran for mayor, and I called out and I cried out about the condition of our people, who came to me? Those that were not afraid to stand up and say something. And it just happened to be these people. I'm willing to stand with you. If they don't like it, they need to get used to it.
I'm not a doctor, so don't walk out here saying Bennett Lee claims he's a doctor now. When they asked me to talk about personal experience, you know, it was Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States, that first signed the Emancipation Proclamation, where he declared that no person of U.S. citizenship should be subject to slavery or involuntary servitude. For those who don't know what involuntary servitude means, that means white folks that was in prison over in Europe were sent over here to work off their prison sentence, and they were slaves in this country. And it passed through the Senate in 1964, and then it finally passed through Congress in 1864, and then it passed in Congress in 1865. And that became the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution. And it says no person of U.S. citizenship should be subject to slavery or involuntary servitude unless convicted of a felony. And once that was declared, then they came up with new laws, like blacks that was now free but nowhere to go and weren't working. They came up with laws called vagrancy, where they can lock you up and you wasn't employed. So that put black brothers back into the state of slavery per this 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, where they work for free. Today they call it community service, where you work for free. That's the new term of slavery. Community service, modern day slavery. And because I'm a convicted felon, and society saying, yeah, you got to pay your debt, but I'm a convicted felon, the debt is not clear. It's really a myth. Because let me ask you, if the debt is, I commit a crime, I go to court, due process of the law, get convicted, go to the penal system, serve time in prison, come out of prison on parole, complete parole, become a registered voter, a citizen, is the debt paid? Yes. But see, it's not written anywhere. And because it's not written anywhere, when I try to give my brother Akeem, who's the founder of Saving Our Sons, that has a safe passage program, and I apply for a position to stand in the neighborhood to make sure kids get back and forth to school safely, They tell me because of my conviction, I can't work that. But what about I've been home now 27 years?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But not only have I been home 27 years, I got my GED when I was 31. I got my associate degree in mental health and substance abuse when I was about 35. I got a bachelor's degree in inner city studies when I was about 40. And then I went back and got a master's degree in leadership and development, right? And now I'm a professor at Northeastern University, and I can't work on the corner. There's a term called invisible punishment, collateral consequences. That's the punishment after the conviction. There's over 100 licenses that I cannot obtain because I got an X on my back in this state. Over 100 licenses. If I want to go to business that require a license, I cannot get it. There's, I don't know how many jobs Home Depot, Walmart, we're not hiring me with all these degrees and been on 27 years because it's not ready today. So I urge every person that got a member in their family that's a convicted felon or convicted felons, you need to be informed like this because there's power in votes if we become a voting bloc. So I urge every formerly incarcerated and convicted person and their families become a registered voters. And we got to be recognized as a voting bloc nationwide. So we get the same people that vote these bills in and pass these bills are the same people we vote into office. So we got to force the United States Supreme Court to put it in writing what it means to have paid your debt. So when you get turned down simply because you've been arrested, then that gives you grounds to sue. See, the gay community has power because they just became a voting bloc. And now they done forced the government of this country to break God laws. Where they can marry each other, adopt children, right? Because they came together as a voting bloc. So now it's time for formerly incarcerated and convicted people to come together, become this voting bloc, and stop being passive.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to be right to the point. Ex-offenders is not just a male issue, it is a female issue as well, which I stand here for my male and female ex-offenders. Love to you all. Been there, done that. The problem that I have is when we come back to the community, the doors are still shut. They don't want to talk to us, don't want to hear our voice. Well, St. Patrick's was brought in the community for who? The community. Who's better to work in the community? People who live in the community. I don't know where you live in, but I live in the community with a lot of people like myself, ex-offenders. What bothers me is that we're ex-offenders, but you will bring others to employ and not employ us. So what do you think you're going to do? What do you think you're going to do? We're going to survive. So I'm standing here today to say we must stand together. You can't look at someone on the corner and say, oh, woe is them. That could be you. You don't know what they had to go through, what they're going through to be there. And as you just said, you have no idea where they're going. I did my time. I did the crime. I did the time. I got certificates for this, certificates for that. No job. What am I supposed to do to feed my baby? I'm supposed to come out and go and beg you. If I go stand on the corner and do anything else, they're going to put some more felonies on me, correct? Right. So what am I standing here to say? We must come together, stand together, and support one another. Come on. And I stand
How's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah.
No, I'm just here to support the cause. You know, ceasefire, we've had over 300 ex-felons over the last 10 years. Anything we can do to support the cause, what everybody's doing, and we all just have to unify together. Over 2.4 million people are locked up across the United States. In the 1980s, it was like 785,000, so the prison population has kind of quadrupled over the last 20 years. So we have a lot of, you guys are dumb, I'm sorry about that. We got a lot of work to do in regards to educating our people. It's good to see this turnout here tonight because black folks, white folks, Latino folks, everybody has to unify on this issue. There's a reason where if a person pay their dues to society, they come out and they still can't get gainful employment. Because what it does is it set people back in their personal lives. You don't have many resources out in the community, you can just walk out here and take a look at that. So it's up to us to create opportunities for our people and do the best we can to challenge the system in a positive way. Okay? It seems like I've been blackballed in the media lately because I stood up against the police department about 2 months ago because there was an increase in police-involved shootings against African-American youth. And there was just a story in the Tribune Sunday that proved what I was talking about was very true. Because there's an officer that killed 2 young brothers and it was unjustified. But when I spoke up, everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah, I work with ceasefire, we believe in making peace, but all peacemakers have another side as well. And if you don't speak the truth, that means that you're in the wrong business. And when you speak the truth, sometimes you understand you're out there on your own. You understand that. And you can't worry about that. Dr. King was a peacemaker, but he was really radical because he knew he would be killed. He knew he'd be killed, so all the people that think Dr. King was just peace, peace, peace all the time, it took a man with a hell of a heart to stand up in the climate that he had to stand up in. Because most men and most women would just go in the house and shut up. I've never been the kind of guy that would shut up. If I'm in the right, I'm a hard guy to deal with. If I'm in the right about something, those who know me, I'm going to go all the way with it. So when I spoke up against the system, like I used to be in the media quite a bit, so now I don't even get return calls from the media. But that's okay, because it's not about the media, it's about us supporting our people, educating people, and then we just started moving from the ground level, and everybody should salute the work of everybody. I appreciate Reverend Patricia Watkins. I've known this young lady for a long time. She said everything you're doing really good. Pastor Eaddy, Benneth, pastors, everybody here, but we all have a lot of work to do. We shouldn't just leave it while we're here. When we leave here, we need to organize, unify to the level of bring together 20 or 30,000 people, and I mean that. It can be done. The thing about it, though, this is where the trick comes in at. Nobody has time to just sit in meetings just to sit in meetings. If you got to have an action plan and you got to move out on it, you can't play with that because I've been around at least 25 years in the movement. Back when I was in the movement, everybody talking about we got to own our own businesses, open up our own stores. 30 years later, we still haven't done it. Right. So I ain't got time to listen to all that BS. Right. If you got an action plan, you want to get busy, talk to me, let's go to work. You know, and I'll say this and conclude. I'll praise you to God, give God credit. We hired about 300 ex-offenders, but also on behalf of ceasefire, we brought about $30 million to the community over the last 10 years in the form of hiring people. That's amazing. That's a major contribution to the work of our people, all right? So let's all get on the same page, because if we don't rebuild our communities, they will never get rebuilt.
That's right.
If we don't rebuild the inner city, it would never happen. We should not have to argue with nobody. We should not have to debate with nobody about resources, because if we unify, we can get the resources. What's happened is that you got everybody fighting for the individual gain. We have to take it back down home. It's about the collective, not the individual. And I hope that's what we talk about tonight. And I want to thank you all for listening.
I'm going to talk just briefly about partnership. How many of you all know what partnership really is? You know what partnership is? Miss Hill, stand up for just 1 minute. That's my wife. We've been married 20 years. That's a partnership to stay married to a preacher like me. In partnership, we got to share the same core values and the same idea to get to the same direction. We are going to have to stand up, everyone in this room, and demand. We can't ask no more. We can't ask our politicians to help us. They helped us into this situation by legislating over us. So we can't ask them to help us. We got to make a demand to our politicians to the mayor of the city of Chicago, and yes, to our president of the United States, Barack Obama, that we got to change the direction we've been going in, because the only people that are ex-offenders is us.
That's it.
We are the only ones that can't get a job. We are the only ones that can't get fair housing. So we have got to come together and make this demand of a partnership. Because when we come home from the prisons and we don't have no resources, our family members get scared of us. Our neighbors are scared of us. Our politicians are scared of us. What are we to do? So we have got to really make a stand today and talk about real partnership. Partnerships mean we do stuff what? Together. To make a change. And that's all I'm going to say this evening. I expect each and every one of us to start bringing partners into this. Call your legislators and tell them that we need change in the state. We need change down in City Hall. How many of you all got a city job that's ex-offender? Nobody. Do you realize there are nothing but ex-offenders that have left City Hall and went to jail that can still get a job that just ain't your color? Something wrong with that picture, ain't it? That's why we gotta make a demand. Everybody in here, we're gonna make a demand to the mayor of the city of Chicago that ex-offenders should be able to get jobs in this city. Thank you.
Protection of your women, secure your house, and secure your family. That man right now is keeping us in perpetual slavery. The man does not wish well for any of us when a man denies you the opportunity to provide for your family, to provide for your community, and do something for yourself. That man is not a friend. That man is really an enemy to you. And this system is an unjust system, and unfortunately a lot of our legislators who know better, and we have gotten behind them, but the minute they get in office, they start to side with them, and they get too weak, and they down our politics. But if I heard our sister Patricia Watkins, I pray to God, since I hear you speak strong, that you definitely be strong in that representation of us and continue to work toward us so we can have true representation in the legislature. I just want to say right now, we have to unite, we have to organize, we have to set aside all our differences, because the groups that I deal with, we don't believe in no religious game thing. We ain't set tripping on west side of town we coming from, because we catching hell not just on the west side, but the south side, east side, north side, all over this country. And if you realize what's going on, they're not just giving ex-felons jobs, but now we have reports to show that they are firing primarily a lot of our black teachers, not just in Chicago, but all over this country. So even our teachers right now don't stand a chance with this CPS system. Come on now. Right. So we have a serious fight. Let me tell you something. When a man denies you the right to do for yourself to take care of your family, that man has waged a war on you. And we are in a war, and we run around like it's peace now. But I'm telling you right now, we are at war. I'll drop some more, I'm done. If you really want to study politics and study constitutional laws, they don't really teach us civics. The Constitution of this really should be a republic form of government. If you want to get into the Latin roots and breakdown of democracy, it's really democracy. It's really set up really by a system of the devil. That's why we have not been able to really get true justice in this system. Take it and let it alone. So I'm telling you, you need to know who your enemy is. You are fighting against the unjust system that has set laws from slave codes to Jim Crow all across the town. But anytime we build something, they can go like Black Wall Street and other places in Washington, D.C. and Florida, and then destroy the accomplishments of those who have always tried to do something for themselves. This is a war that's always been going on. But until we really recognize who the real enemy is and get the strength and the courage to say we really believe in God, then God lets us know there ain't no enemy that can come against you and win if you're really with God. Thank you. Let's go.
Right, here from the community, we have Pastor Eaddy and also Sister Rogers. Please welcome Dr. Pastor Michael.
pastoring on the west side of Chicago for 32 years. I was brought up on the west side. I was one of the first ones to integrate Austin High School. That goes way back before a whole lot of y'all were even around. So I've been around for a long time. And I'm also director of an organization called Philemon Restoration Project. And it's all about recognizing that everybody deserves a second chance, a third chance, a fifth chance. Paul sent a man back to his friend Philemon, whose name was Onesimus. And he sent him back because while he was incarcerated, he became converted. And in being converted, Paul sent him back and said he was once not profitable, now he is profitable. One of the things that I have seen over the past 10 years with our program, some 2,400 formerly incarcerated individuals have gone through. And what I've seen is that each one of them have a desire to retool themselves. They want to upgrade their skills. They want to be more marketable. They want to restore their families. And the message that we have to make sure that is being sent throughout the community is that everybody has to give our brothers and our sisters a break. Everybody. I know I may be talking to the choir, but the family's got to give them a break. The churches got to give them a break. We already know about the public officials. They got to give them a break. The lawmakers got to give them a break. And what we're saying is that we have to unite together. And we have to recognize, as Dr. Watkins has said, I know they're formerly incarcerated in my family. I know that aunts and uncles and mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers in all of our families, there's somebody that is coming back and they need to be given a break. And as a community, I want you to know that persons like myself and other pastors that are here and pastors that are not here, we are coming together, we are joining together, we're organizing ourselves, and we're saying to